Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of the Just Sing podcast. Uh, this is, kind of an impromptu podcast because I didn't plan on doing one, but I kind of I had a conversation with somebody that kind of just sparked it, and I said, you know what, this is a podcast episode, and this particular topic that I want to discuss is the difference between the nerd and the intellect. Now, I get it. We have a lot of conversations about, especially as black men, you know, we have these battles. We've been having these battles, especially us in our adult life now. Oh, she didn't like the nerds when I was in high school. Or the girls just they never like the nerd. They always like the bad boy. They always like the fuck boy, And women, this is going to be for y'all too. Because you guys are attracted to fuck boys. But it's a whole process. It's a whole process. And there's different dynamics to this whole thing. And I'm learning that there is a difference between a nerd and an intellect. Now I get it, we say black nerds unite, the blurs, and we have all of that. But I think we need to, before we just accept that, we need to really define and peel back the layers between the two, and a lot of times we associate being intelligent with being a nerd. And that's not the nerdy part. That's not the nerdy part. That's not what makes you a nerd. Being smart and being intelligent, well, smart and intelligent, two different things, but being intelligent isn't what makes you a nerd. It's almost like, in geometry, when you learn about squares and rectangles, you know that all squares are rectangles, but all rectangles aren't squares. You feel what I'm saying? Now, follow me on this. It's like all intellects, no, all nerds. Okay, all nerds are intellects, right? But all intellects aren't nerds. Okay, it's a very common theme like that I've noticed that transpires, because I find myself in a quandary a lot of times when I'm speaking with, my brothers who would, talk about, yeah, she didn't like the nerd, she didn't like that, and I'm like, I don't get it. I never got it. And I never put the two and two together until I'm having this conversation with this sister today. And she's like, the nerd and the bad boy. Why do they like the nerd and the bad boy, but they don't like the intellect? I'm like, women love the intellect. I don't get what the hell is going on. And I'm looking at it from the broader scope now. And I'm able to see that there is a distinct difference between the nerd and the intellect. You feel what I'm saying? And because there's that distinct difference, there is something that has to be explained or even spoken on. Just because. And I kind of, I want to talk about it, because it's like, when we look at that and we look at the whole complaint as to what it is, that we as men, the quote unquote nerds, or the quote unquote, the quirky guys, the one who weren't mainstream, or I wasn't the thug, I wasn't, okay, cool. You don't have to be. You don't have to be the thug and the gangster, but I'm going to explain why they like the thugs and the gangsters. I'm going to explain why they didn't like the nerds, and I'm going to explain why in our age right now, the intellect is what's respected, because the intellect has always been respected and revered. The nerd wasn't, and the lines were blurred somewhere. But as I said, all nerds are intellects, but all intellects aren't nerds. And when I come back from this quick commercial, we're going to dive into today's episode of the Just Sing podcast, which is, I don't have a title yet, but by the end of it, I'm going to have a title. It's going to be something along the lines of nerds and intellects. That's the title. The nerd and the intellect, the difference. All right. Nerd, do I really like that? I don't know. But anyway, be sure to check out my website at iamjustsing.com. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_sing_ at iamjustsing.com. You can get access to everything that is me. My Mastering the Market Trading course. You can also sign up for our live webinars that occur every 2 weeks. First one will be this Thursday. The Hitting It Raw program, you can get the book and sign up for the course. Click the link. So Frail series, all of the books are on the page. Just Sing's merch, everything is on the page. Chat with Sing. If you just want to talk, vent out, get some insight, guidance, learn something new, have a study session, whatever the case may be. It's all there for you at my website, IamJustSeen.com, and it can take you to all of my social media outlets. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, and we shall return with what I'm talking about? With the nerd and the intellect, the difference between the two. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the Sofrel series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right, welcome back. The reason why, I'm probably sounding like this because it's going to be a lot of sarcasm here, but it's going to be a lot of real shit because it has to be discussed. You feel me? Because I see that, it's a battle between so many different things. And I'm starting to see something it's like I'm looking at my brothers and shit who were the nerds in school, right? You feel me? They were the nerds in school. And I was a nerd in school, but that's why I'm saying that's how I'm knowing now that there's a difference between a nerd and an intellectual, a nerd and an intellect. And that's why I'm going to reiterate. All nerds are intellectuals, but all intellectuals aren't nerds. Okay. I'm going to say that. This is not a shot. This is not a slight. This is a point of understanding. Okay. So we can stop this conversation of, well, they didn't like this type of person. Okay, cool. But I'm going to explain why that was the case. Okay, I'm going to try my best to. I'm going to be as, objective as I possibly can, but the real is the real, bro. The real is the real. So when we look at the nerd, right? If we take it back to school, now we're talking about nerds becoming the guys who, now women respect the nerd who's running the Fortune 5 and all of that stuff and everything the case may be. And it's the monetary value. So now, the conversation that I was having that ultimately led to this was a sister saying, how when black men get to those positions, the CEOs and all of that stuff, they remember how they were treated by black women when they were in school or whatever the case may be. And that's why they don't like black women. So she was like, it's the quandary between the nerd and the bad boy, and I'm like, it's really not the nerd and the bad boy that are battling. It's the nerd and the intellect, And I'm saying that on the strength that all nerds are intellects, but all intellects aren't nerds. So when we consider the motherfuckers who say, well, I was the nerd in school and they didn't like me, but now they want to be all on me now. And no, that's not the case because I love us. You feel me? But there's a defining factor between the nerd and the intellectual. You feel what I'm saying? This is why I'm saying it this way. Because when I consider this shit, I hung with the nerds, right? I hung with the nerds. I hung with the bad boys too, but I hung with the nerds. And, the nerds was where I would go and fuck with, hey, look, bro, I just got, this new deck of Pokemon cards. So I need to know, what I'm saying? Yo, you got a Blastoise, bro. I got 2 Charizards. I don't need one. I need Blastoise though, bro, because I got Venusaur too. I need to get these motherfuckers popping. So I trade you my Charizard for your, I would go fuck with nerds on that type time. You feel what I'm saying? But I would also still, be with the bad boys, because they weren't bad boys. They were just my friends, do hood rat shit with my hood rat friends. But it never really dawned on me because it's like, I was able to maneuver successfully. So this is why I'm big on words being used accordingly and used appropriate ways. Because now, now that it's like, I'm in a position where, a lot of women, admire my mind. But my mind has always been admired. So that it doesn't go to my head as it does with a lot of dudes who didn't get that respect in those times when they were younger. you know, because like, I'm like, yo, bro, I used to play, like, I watched the anime, I did all of the shit that you do, but what's the difference between us? It's like, because I'm seeing it from this lens of interacting with the nerds. You feel what I'm saying? I'm seeing it from interacting with the nerds. So I'm like, yo, they fuck with me. I don't know why they don't fuck with y'all, because I fuck with y'all. You feel what I mean? But that's the difference between the intellectual and the nerd. See, a lot of times, because we have equated the two, that automatically, if somebody's intellectual, he's a nerd. Nerds are, and I hate using this word, but I'm using this for conversation's sake. Nerds are kind of weird, right? Everybody's different. Everybody has their own thing. And I don't like to call people weird at all. I'm using this for conversation's sakes because this is the differentiating factor between the nerd and the intellect. Nerds do weird shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, nerds do weird shit. And that is what made them unattractive. Yes, you grew up out of running down the hallway like Naruto and shit when you got older. Like, you feel me? Those tendencies to do certain shit is what made you the nerd, not the intellect. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, you were very intelligent and all of this, but you kind of did weird shit. You did dumb shit. You did crazy shit, and got mad when people didn't like that. You know? And I'm not saying that's, you know, and people, and it's not, and sometimes it wasn't even a case of people bullying. You know what I mean? Because I know nerds who were never bullied, but they were just ignored. And that was enough for them to be angry because they were ignored. And nobody fucked with the shit that they were doing. It's like, yo, you're kind of doing weird shit. You feel what I'm saying? And that's when I started to realize the differentiating factor. Because yeah, I would go, you know, hang with these motherfuckers and trade the Pokemon cards, but it's like that was one dynamic of my life, and that was from the intellectual side. But I don't want to get too heavy wrapped in saying that, oh, because I'm an intellect, I automatically watch anime and all of that shit. No. That shit that you're like, your attributes and the shit, that's not what makes you the intellect. That makes you the nerd. That makes you do nerdy shit. You feel what I'm saying? So now that we get older and they're like, women say, oh, I like nerds. They still don't like nerds. But we have defined the nerd as the intellect and made the shit go hand in hand. And it's not the same. It is not the fucking same. You feel what I'm saying? So where now we're older and now we have matured beyond being comfortable doing nerdy shit. You know, Dungeons and Dragons and all of that shit. Like, nobody wants to, like, you can be as smart as you want to be, but nobody wants to stay within that bubble. You know, because you have those people who are very, very intelligent, but, you know, they became the nerd. They exhibited the nerd behavior. They became the nerd. And like I said, because we made them shit synonymous, we kind of lost sight of that. It's not the same shit. It goes back into the square and rectangle thing I use. Like, all nerds are intellectuals, but all intellectuals aren't nerds. And then you have those nerds that aren't even intellectuals. But I'm not going to get onto those. Like, you feel me? There's some nerdy motherfuckers who are not intelligent at all. You feel what I mean? I remember I was in middle school. And it was this one Caucasian kid. And he used to always use big words. Like, to sound smart. He'd be like, and then one day, like, in the 7th grade, I didn't even know some of the words that he was using. But I wasn't paying attention to him. I'm just thinking, yo, he's being nerdy, bro. He's doing what they do when they're nerdy. Like, you feel me? They have to show that aspect. So one day the teacher said, do you even know what you're using? Or do you just use big words to sound smart? And then he was like, I use them. He said, so what does this word mean? He said, now, I don't know what that one means. He said, see, you're not even using. And it was at that moment that I realized he's a fucking nerd. I was like, now that's a fucking nerd. Like, you feel me? And people will be like, yo, you a nerd too? I'm like, I'm not a nerd, bro. I'm very intelligent, but I'm not a fucking nerd. Like, and that's when I started to realize, like when I say it's the difference between being smart and intelligent, because being smart is to have an accumulation of the information. You feel me? You can rattle off facts. Intelligence requires you to concretely think and critically and analytically think about things. You feel me? So I can always be in a present moment, use my mind and get out of that situation, turn a problem to a solution just like that. The smart motherfucker can only create the solution when the problem fits the template of what's going on. If A, then B, then B, then C, then okay, this should give me C. If it doesn't give me C, it doesn't work. they automatically shut down. That's what a smart motherfucker does. I shut down when I can't get to the conclusion. You feel me? But then you have, the intellectual is gonna figure out how to get the answer before saying, yo, the answer is not there. You feel what I'm saying? Smart, an example of being smart, and this is very, very simple, right? And we do this a lot of times, and I love us to life, but we got to really start doing this. We got to stop saying our babies know their ABCs because they can sing the ABC song. That's smart. That's smart. Say your ABCs, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But if you point to the letter A, they can't recognize it. That's not knowing your ABCs. That's not intelligent. And that is one of the perfect examples of it. Singing the ABC song is very smart. Being able to count to 10 is very smart when you're trained and you're conditioned to it, right? But seeing and recognizing the number 15 is different than counting to 15. Seeing and recognizing the letter L is different from saying LMNOP. You feel me? So that is an extension of what the difference is between being smart and intelligent, for one. And that also goes into the difference between being the nerd and the intellectual, And they like, yo, when they get into these positions and now he's running the CEO, he's still an asshole because he's a fucking nerd. Nerds do asshole shit still. And that's the difference. They're like, yo, so why don't they were ignored as kids. A lot of nerds are cops too. They're the cops and shit, the cops and the sheriffs, they're the nerds that weren't smart. I mentioned when I was just talking about the nerds that weren't intellectuals. You feel what I'm saying? Those are the nerds that nobody fucked with them. They were ignored. Nobody cared for them. And now, they get they get a gun and they get some muscles and shit. And now they think they're still not nerds. No, you're still a fucking nerd. That's why you respond the way you do, because you're a fucking nerd. You're a fucking nerd. But I'm talking about the nerd intellectual complex, not the nerd and the, whatever them motherfuckers are. So when we look at the nerd, they become the CEO. And then they do. You seen the motherfucking movie Incredibles? And then the CEO that, Mr. Incredible choked the fuck out when he threw him through the wall because he kept talking shit. He was a fucking nerd. That's a fucking nerd. You feel what I'm saying? They get so wrapped up into reality of their intelligence being all that matters to them, being all that matters to the world, that all they need. And they don't have anything else to offer like a personality. Most nerds lack a fucking personality. It ain't, and that's not a shot towards them. That's not an attempt. That's what, you become nerdy because you're socially awkward. That's what, now, we should embrace more people for their quirkiness or whatever the case may be. A lot of times we shitted on it. A lot of times that was childhood shit. But in an adulthood, it's it becomes different. It's yeah, you're very intelligent, but you're a nerd, So it gets to that point where it's yo, black women, they didn't like the black, they still don't like the black nerd. To be honest with you, they like the black intellect, and there's two totally different things. Because the nerd is corny. The nerd is the motherfucker who does the sarcastically disrespectful, dry humor and shit continually. That always has a negative. They sound very, very intelligent with some very cynical shit at the same time. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be around that shit. That's a fucking nerd. You feel me? That's a nerd. Nobody likes that shit. See, people be thinking it's nobody likes you. No, nobody likes the shit you do. Because a lot of these nerds be so fucking smart, but they speak in a condescending manner. They when they given whatever bit of information they knew, oh, you didn't know that? I can't believe it. That's a nerd. Nobody likes that motherfucker. Nobody likes to be spoken to like they're nothing. You feel what I mean? Or brought down in that regard. Now, I know this could seem like I'm attacking the nerd or whatever the case may be, but I'm not. I'm showing that there's a difference between the nerd and the intellectual. Women, and I've learned that women have always liked the intellectual. The bad boy was available. Now, here's the other aspect to it, right? So when we look at, she liked the bad boy, this is going to piss a lot of nerds off. If I'm already pissing you off, it's going to piss off a lot more. You feel me? The reason why in school and things like this, the reason why women always go for the bad boy is because bad boys exude a level of masculinity, right? On a carnal level, the basic level. Now, the fuck boys, there's levels to this shit. Masculinity, y'all know how I define it: the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction, right? But the bad boy exudes a manliness, that a nerd doesn't exude, right? So now we have equated tied masculinity to manliness. They're not the same. You feel me? Just like, again, another reference to the square and the circle. Square and the rectangle. You feel what I'm saying? All masculine men are manly, but all manly men aren't masculine. However, on that basic level, when you see the bad boy, he does manly shit. You feel me? So that's the surface of what's put out there. You feel me? They're like, yo, get you a smart person, get you with this. Like, yo, there's a lot of smart motherfuckers who still are manly. You feel me? So this is where the battle comes in, because they're like, oh yeah, she went with the bad boy. She liked this guy and she liked to do, and now look, he broke her heart. That's nerd shit. You see, like, do you see why nobody fucks with a nerd? Nerds say shit like that. Nerds do shit like that. Nerds are the motherfuckers who are bitching right now about. Now, again, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to intelligence, because you're also a fucking nerd when you say shit like, yeah, she curved me in high school. Now she got to raise them babies by herself. You're a fucking nerd. That's nerd shit. That's nerdy shit. You're a fucking nerd. You feel me? But we have gotten, like I said, we've gotten so used to equate the fact that the nerd and the intellect are the same, and they're not. They're not. You feel what I'm saying? So now, I'm going to backtrack. So now we have the bad boy, right? Why do girls fall for the bad boy? Because at the core of it all, every girl wants to be protected. I know. We talk about, and I always speak on women, but we're talking about girls because this is where it starts. At the core, every girl, every woman really wants to be protected. And here's where the quandary comes in, right? And this is where the battle comes in between the nerd and the bad boy, right? We're going to get back to the nerd and the intellect, but this is the quandary between the nerd and the bad boy. Okay? The bad boy is more prone to protect her than the nerd is. And women, as much as y'all don't like this shit, as much as y'all say y'all don't, you have to go back to the core of your inner child, that inner little girl in you that longs for protection, whether she got it or not, or whatever the case may be. But you would rather be protected by a fuckboy than feel unsafe in the presence of a nerd. There's no debate about that shit. Just listening to women who talked about, I'm like, yo, so why didn't you fuck with the nerds? And because I'm basing it off my perspective. Like I said, this episode is more so an aha moment, because I'm basing it off my perspective. I'm like, I was a nerd too. Why the fuck do I get the passes and shit like that? It was never that. I was never a nerd. I was an intellectual who has been labeled as a nerd, but I never did nerdy shit. You feel what I mean? And so the woman she's more prone and more likely, no matter what the situation is, she will feel safer in the presence of a fuckboy than she will in the presence of a nerd. You dig what I'm saying? Again, more nerdy shit. I'm not fighting over no bitch. Oh, see, I told you, it's not linked just to the intelligence part. There's unintelligent nerds too. You feel what I'm saying? But we're sticking to the ones who are, well, I was the smart one in school. I was this and I was that. There's levels to your nerdiness. You feel me? There's levels to your nerdiness. You can be as much of an intellect as you want to, but are you a fucking nerd? Are you the dickhead asshole who speaks condescendingly to people all the fucking time? You feel what I'm saying? You're a fuckboy too. You're just the fuckboy who she doesn't feel safe around, who she doesn't feel will protect her. That's why women choose the bad boy. You feel me? That's why women choose the bad boy, because I know at the end of the day, and it's fucked up, bro, and I'm using this just for dramatic, conversation. At the end of the day, if I know niggas ain't shit, I'd rather go with a fuckboy than a nerd. Why? Because at least with the fuckboy, chances are she's going to be the intelligent factor in that. She's not going to have to worry about being spoken to in a condescending manner as if she just doesn't know shit. She don't have to worry about that. But she can guarantee that if somebody disrespected her, he gonna fight for her. He's going to do something. But the nerd, on the other hand, when she looks at him, it's like, yo, I don't see how you can do this for me. But then I have to deal with that aspect of you being so smart that you just shit. You don't teach me shit. You just learn a whole bunch of shit to constantly remind me of what I don't know. That's a nerd. That's a fucking nerd. And that's the difference. It ain't got shit to do with anime. It ain't got shit to do with Pokemon. It ain't got shit to do with being different or weird or playing instruments and not. Because literally, I did all of that shit. I played the saxophone. I trade Pokemon cards. You feel me? Like, I do all of the nerd shit. I was never able to get it. You feel me? And I hung with motherfuckers who did the nerd shit too. Like, we were all in. I'm like, yo, how the fuck are we the cool ones? Like, how are we the cool nerds? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, what happened with us? And so I look back, and I'm like, how did I somehow bridge the gap? How did I somehow I walk the thin line? Because like I said, all I hung with at the time, I was the smartest gangster in my clique. I don't claim to be gangster. I didn't gang bang, but technically I'm gang affiliated. All my homies growing up were all gangbangers, like in some way, shape, or form. So it was either I was gonna get jumped in or I didn't. You feel me? But at the end of the day, when I look at what was different about me was that, you feel me? I like I said, I fuck with the bad boys too. I did the bad boy shit too. And now I'm starting to see what it was. Like the intellectual component of it, I wasn't a nerd with the shit. You feel me? Now granted, I was a very, very savage fuckboy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not absolving myself for that shit at all. Like, okay, I get the pass because I did fuckboy shit. I did fuckboy shit. Like I did until I, matured and everything. But I'm looking at the difference mainly between the nerd and the intellect. You feel me? And women, why they don't fuck with nerds. To this day, you feel me? Bronze bomber, salute. But to this day, you feel me? Women still don't fuck with nerds and people don't get it. See, a lot of these dudes have reached a point where, oh, I got the good job now. Now I got this. Now I got this. And it's like, yo, you're still a fucking nerd. Not just the intellect, you're a fucking nerd. And here's where it becomes a problematic piece, because the nerd, like I said, they are good at rattling off facts and information. They're not good at thinking. You feel me? So a lot of times we've always had the nerds who were, we saw the nerd. They got the good grades in school because they memorized material. So we don't really know that shit. You feel me? It didn't hit me until I was in undergrad. Like now all of this shit is coming back, but I'm just using examples is when I start to see certain shit. Like in undergrad, I never studied for tests, right? They would get a study guide. And all the people would talk about, yeah, I used to have these grades in school. And then I would notice in college, they couldn't keep up. They couldn't keep up in college because they were like, man. And when it finally hit me, it finally dawned on me, I forgot, it was in physics. It was in motherfucking physics, right? And the exam was on, I think, light and electromagnetism or some shit like that. So the teacher gave the study guide and said, here's the material. Here's the topics in the material that you're going to. So he gave the study guide. Most of my classmates, they memorized. Now, granted, I went to a HBCU, so this is when I really saw the difference between the intellect and the nerd. Fuck being in an honors program. Fuck being, being classified with all of that shit. No, this is when you learn the difference between a smart motherfucker and an intelligent motherfucker. Right here. You feel what I'm saying? So he gives the study guide, right? I didn't study for the test at all. I didn't even people were like, yo, we're going to have a study group. You going to come? No, I don't study. What do you mean? I don't study. Oh, you just think I don't memorize shit, bro. My memory's trash. I smoke in undergrad, my homies in undergrad, faithfully, 7:30, yo, you about to go to class, ain't you? I'm like, yeah. And it's they would know when I'm about to go smoke some weed. You feel me? And I told them I was fucking with them. I was like, yo, I'm going to herbology and shit. Who has a class at 7:30? You feel what I'm saying? I get it. And if you do have those night classes, they usually start from 5 to 8. Nobody's going to be in that starting the class at 7:30 to 10. Fuck no, that's stupid. So they knew. But you feel what I'm saying? The point of that was I was making, I was like, I don't remember shit, bro. I know it. They're like, what do you mean? Fuck you mean? What do I mean? He gives the assignment. He gives the material and information. I learn that shit. I do the assignments and the homework. I don't just, and they were like, but I do the homework too. Okay, do you do it just to get the answer? Or do you do it just to turn it in? No, I break that shit down till I don't have to think about it anymore. You feel what I'm saying? So the point that I was making was that when this test came out, I had got an A and another A student got a C on it. And I was like, how? How you get a C? And the words that he spoke to me, now that I'm reliving this shit, it sticks heavily to me. He said, the test wasn't like the study guide. I said, I don't get it. He was like, he switched the questions. I'm still missing what you're saying. The questions on the test were not the same questions that were in the study guide. I said, it's a study guide though. I don't get it. He was like, how did you pass? I said, I didn't study. I knew the material. Like, it doesn't like, I'm like, yo, so it didn't matter what fucking test he gave me. I knew what the fuck was going on. And then I realized, you're the nerdy motherfucker. Like, now that I'm looking like he was a nerd. You feel what I'm saying? I'm thinking, okay, we on the same, but he knew how to pass a test. I knew how to learn material. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm only saying that to say this. When we look at the nerd and we look at how smart the nerd is, like, you could be an A student and still not know shit. You can be a D student and know everything. I'm not saying I was a D student, but you could be a D student and know everything. You just don't know how to do a test. You feel what I'm saying? And here's where that problematic piece comes in, because whenever I when I talk to these people who bitch and moan about, yo, black women, they didn't like the nerds in school. I don't look. All I dated all my life, all I've been with all my life was black women. I've been this exact same way the whole time. So I'm like, yo, am I the anomaly? Am I special? Is there something different? Now look at my homies and shit that I hung with. You feel me? We were all in the same mental space. You feel me? We all were in the same mental space and we all carried ourselves the same way. And we all messed with black women. And I was like, now my homies and shit, they didn't get into the Pokemon and, you feel me, the anime and shit. So I ain't rock with them on that shit. The shit that I rock with them was when it came to, rapping, trying to get a deal. You feel what I'm saying? Trapping and shit. Loading guns and shit. Like, fuck with them on that shit. But then it hit me like, yo, I see why they like bad boys. I see why women like bad boys. If this motherfucker is willing to shoot somebody, I'm protected. If I'm riding around and if we riding together and he got a gun on him and some shit pop off, I'm protected. A lot of times we be looking at that shit like women like danger. They don't like danger. They're not just going to go into danger. Hence why if they were just going to go into danger, they could be comfortable doing the shit with the nerd. They go into danger where they know they could potentially, the potential and the odds of them being safe are high. Because I know he rides around with that thing. I know he got that thing. He got the chopper in the back. I know he's going to shoot somebody if some shit pops off. It's dangerous as fuck. I'm sitting in the car and we hitting licks and shit. It's dangerous as fuck. But I know he got me. That's why women like bad boys, because of that masculine essence that is presented. You feel what I'm saying? The nerd is different. Like if somebody says something to the nerd, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. No, words will hurt you. And I'm going to punch you in your motherfucking mouth for saying something stupid. You feel me? That's the bad boy. That's the bad boy. You said what? I'm going to slap the shit out of you right here. That's the bad boy, right? The nerd is going to be, I'm just going to turn like nerd the cheek turners, bro. It's levels to this shit. So it's deeper than the whole facade of, I like black women didn't like, the nerds growing up, and this is for any woman. Like I'm specifically, talking about black women. The only reason why I'm saying, any woman is because a lot of these nerds say I don't deal with black women and then deal with women who do the same shit. And then you just be like, yo, women just don't like me. No, they don't fucking like nerds. They don't. You feel me? Now, you attract them and you lure them in with the smart shit, And this is what I'm seeing in a lot of the woke community, bro. A lot of these men, I'm about to bust a bubble, because a lot of these woke brothers are nerds. They're fucking nerds. If you've been following what I've been defining as nerds this entire time, they're fucking nerds. So they get a little bit of information, continually regurgitate. They microwave the shit. This is some quick shit. There's like a lot of the shit that motherfuckers say they know when they drop the knowledge, they don't really know. They're recollecting and remembering. You feel what I'm saying? And I started to learn that shit. Like, that's that nerdy shit. Like, that's nerd behavior. I'm just going to show you how smart I am. And then now it's like, now that I'm woke and I'm dropping knowledge and shit, the women like it. Because what the women are seeing when you're dropping knowledge, they're seeing your smarts masked as intelligence. You're not really intelligent. Where did you get that information from? What book did you read? How did you process that information? All that. That's the intelligent motherfucker. Bitch, you got that shit from a meme. You're a fucking nerd. You're a fucking nerd, bro. And that's what a lot of these things are happening. I've been telling my sisters for a long time. Every woman that I've ever met that, since my transition into the conscious side and shit like that, and I had my spiritual awakenings and all of that shit, I tell every woman, if you're going to follow any masculine, any male figure, any male black figure, and I never knew why I was saying this shit. You feel me? I've been saying this shit for years. All black women need to read the 48 Laws of Power. If you are reading, if you are following any kind of man, any kind of black man who's trying to give you game or trying to do, read the 48 Laws of Power. Please, I've been saying that shit. If you fuck with me, read the 48 Laws of Power. Do not get caught up by this shit. And I'm like, I never understood why I was saying that. Now I do. Now I do. It's in this moment. A lot of aha moments are coming to me right now. But in this moment, I understand why I always said that. You feel what I mean? If you're new to my platform and shit, you probably haven't heard me. But if you've been fucking with me for a while, like I would constantly read the 48 Laws of Power. This woman I used to deal with about 2 years ago, I told her, read the 48 Laws of Power. Me and her don't talk anymore, but she got that book. You feel me? I'm like, yo, that's what's up. Like, if you are going to be following or listening or taking advice from any male figure, period, but specifically within our community, the black male figures that are running shit, read the 48 Laws of Power, because they are the motherfuckers that are in the front of nerds. They're nerds. And when you start to see the 48 Laws of Power in their tendencies, you'll be like, oh shit. You feel me? I read the 48 Laws of Power to navigate through white supremacy the way I was supposed to. You feel me? That shit helped me get in, get out, unplug. I said, oh, this is what it's all about, right? But then I understood. In that realm, I was out thinking a lot of these motherfuckers simply because I knew what power was and I knew what they were doing for power. So I took my power and I merged it and I created strength out of it. You feel what I'm saying? I talk about that in So Frail too. Power and strength, you know. Power is like Huey Newton said, power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired way. That's power. Strength is the ability to resist opposition until either the opposition stops or the resistance stops. You're unable to resist anymore. You feel what I'm saying? That's strength. This is why I say read the 48 Laws of Power, so you can see what somebody is trying to do to you. You feel what I'm saying? This is why a lot of times I just, I post and go. I do my own shit. I don't argue with people over that shit because I'm not trying to exert my power over you, but you will not exert yours over me. But the point of that was 48 Laws of Power. Women, everybody needs to read that shit, but specifically women. If you're following these leaders, if everything that they say, like one of the 48 Laws of Power is to create a cult-like following. What do all of these men tap into? The cultic mentality of what they can get women to follow them for. You feel me? I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with y'all because I love y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I wrote So Frail in light of the cult-like following. I'm not even gonna lie. That's why the book is titled So Frail, A Reality to Black Male Masculinity, because I knew that in the tension and the time in which I released it, everybody was, black women, ain't nothing wrong with y'all. We need to fix ourselves. Our masculinity's tainted. Our masculinity's this. Our masculinity's that. That's what everybody kept saying about our masculinity. But when I would listen to them and what they would say about masculinity, it's always basic shit. So I said, capitalizing moment. I'm about to get this shit. So I said, all right, I'm gonna title the book So Frail, A Reality to Black Male Masculinity. And I know that it's gonna be, I'm directing it towards my brothers, but I'm gonna directly give it to my sisters to indirectly get it to them because I knew my brothers weren't gonna read it at first. Because I looked at these pages. I looked at these people, and I'm like, bruh, come on, bro. You're doing this shit for women. And I never seen, they rarely do accountability pieces. They never do anything. Like, it's always, ladies, it's us that need to do this. It's us that need to do that. You feel me? Ladies, you got to understand that you have this. You a queen. You are this. Nah, some of these women aren't regal. Some of these men aren't regal, and that's okay. You feel me? But we need to stop creating that shit. But like I said, one of the 48 Laws of Power is to create a cult-like following. So I use that leverage to create So Frail. You feel what I'm saying? And now it's like, so when I gave it to the women, because I'm like, yo, if women read it first, I'm like, at this time, I wrote it in 2016. So in this realm, this is what the cult is. This is what the cult-like following is. This is where the power is. The power is in making sure women are able to demonize us as men. Men have to demonize the men first. You feel what I'm saying? So when we're men and we're demonizing each other, women are going to fuck with it. Oh, that's right. These are men calling men out. But all we're doing is bashing men to make ourselves look good. Right? So I said, I got to fix this. Right? Well, I don't have to fix it, but I said, I'm going to contribute to what's going to fix this. So I said, okay, So Frail, a reality to black male masculinity. First thing I'm going to do is give it to women. I'm going to have women read this book first, right? So the women that read it was like, yo, I thought this was going to be, I know you thought it was going to be something different, because the power struggle right now is, this is what the power is. This is where the power lies. Getting women comfortable with attacking men. So from that, the women that have read the book, all of the women that have read the book have given it to men. My plan was a success. It was given to men, right? So within that, the men that have read it was like, yo, this shit revolutionized. She said, when I first thought it, I'm like, yo, you attacking my, nah, bro. I use that debate. It's bait. You feel me? Because two things that are always going to sell is sex and controversy. That's a very controversial title. If I say So Frail, a reality to black male masculinity, damn, here goes another motherfucker talking about black male masculinity and this, and this. Now you have an opportunity to see what masculinity is, what the fuck we've been dealing with, and how to change that shit, right? Now let's stick with the thing. That's an intelligence. That's what intelligence is. The nerds, the nerdy shit is the motherfucker who's, I got all of this information and I'm going to make sure motherfuckers can't get it. But I'm going to talk to motherfuckers like, see, on some nerd shit, what I would have done with So Frail is I would have continued to bash men. Knowing that I have this insight, knowing that I've been given this insight to what masculinity really is, continue to shit on men and use it to give out doses of shit to women to keep them in the circle. You feel me? That's what the nerds are mad at. Really and truly, that's what it is. Them as their quote unquote authentic self could not get women because women didn't like that shit. You feel me? Women didn't like that shit. So now they use and leverage the fact that the fuckboys played them, right? The fuckboys have played the women, right? The nerds are fuckboys too. Don't forget that shit. But they're just a different type of fuckboy. You feel me? Like I said, a woman, when you look at the description of what a woman, she's like, he got to be a little hood. He got to be a little thug. Like, why? Because he has to be rough. By default, she already knows she's soft, so she wants a man that's going to be a little rough. She don't want a nerd. I've never seen a rough nerd. Have you? No. Like, there's never been. So, the nerds would be the motherfuckers who wouldn't do shit. They wouldn't bust grapes in fruit fights. You feel what I'm saying? That's what attracts a woman to the fuckboy. You feel me? That's really a lot of the essence of what it is. And that's also simultaneously what repels her from the nerd. Right? So with the nerd coming into the fact that, oh, I'm smart, but are you intelligent? Are you an actual intellectual? You feel what I'm saying? And that's where the separation comes in. Because like I said, when we look at a lot of these quote unquote nerds now, what they become, it's like, yo, you was corny then. You're corny now. You feel me? You're just popular. All of the shit that they wanted to get in high school, middle school, all of these things, they're getting now with social media. They're getting now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like things are starting to manifest themselves and you're like, yo, that's a fucking nerd. You feel what I'm saying? That's a nerd. Now, I'm not shitting on these brothers and shit. And I'm not shitting on people collectively. I'm using these examples to paint the vivid picture of what it really is. Because there's almost a one-to-one connection. Like as men, we can, like, as they say, women knows women, right? Men know men. As a man, I can sit in a space and know instantly who's alpha, who's beta, who's epsilon, who's secure in himself, who's not, who's here. Like, you feel me? I can tell. Like, we can feel that shit amongst each other. We can feel who's going to go for the title, whatever the case may be. I sat on a panel for my homegirl Tink. She did cocktail conversations. Quick plug, cocktail conversations. Y'all need to fuck with that. The Sassy Rant on Instagram, fuck with that. But I spoke on that panel, right? And like after the panel, like people that read the book, they say, yo, we can literally see who was alpha, beta, and epsilon. I said, I know. Like, cause you know what I'm saying? It's like, but you can always tell a beta that wants to be an alpha. You can always tell an alpha that knows he's an alpha. You can always tell an epsilon who's just lost in this place, who doesn't know, but he's trying to get somewhere. You feel what I'm saying? And on this panel, no bullshit, all three types of men were there. And you almost seen in real time, you almost seen how they harmonize with each other. Who harmonized with who repelled from who just didn't know what the fuck was going on. You feel what I'm saying? So the very particular point was when I started to see, like alphas don't have to show their alphas. We just are, bro. I'm like, and that pisses nerds off a lot more because a lot of nerds are epsilon, and you feel me? That's another point they don't get. Like you don't even have alpha energy, bro. Like you're not even an alpha, so you're trying, and that's the thing about the nerds. When I look at the nerds, right, a lot of they don't even like nerdy women. Just like you see me, oh, women always want the bad boy. You want the bad bitch, like the fuck, like, and I'm using bitch for, reference sake. Y'all know how I feel about women. Y'all know how I feel about black women. I love y'all. But I'm using this comment. Like when you look at the nerd and the type of woman he wants, he don't want another nerd. So that speaks volumes. You don't even like what you are. You don't even like what you are. You want the same woman with the, you want the woman that's, gonna put out, that's really gonna give the bad boy something. You want the woman that's gonna, like, that's what you want. You don't want the nerd. You don't want the woman that's gonna watch the anime with you. You feel me? Perfect example, and this is a hood classic. This is a black people classic. It's Family Matters. You can say what you want about Myra being toxic or whatever the case may be. She was just like Steve. Steve didn't want her. He wanted Laura. Bam. Bam. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. Oh yeah, and don't forget, while I still got you, you can use promo code QUARANTINE to save over 90% off of the enrollment of the full price of the course. That is QUARANTINE, QUARANTEEN. And Steve was a fucking nerd. Now, not in the sense of because he was smart. And again, Steve Urkle is the perfect example of how we have connected being a nerd to being intelligent. And it further cements what I was saying about how all intellectuals are nerds. I mean, all nerds are intellectuals, but all intellectuals aren't nerds. Case in point, when the motherfucker went into the goddamn machine, he was still Steve Urkle. Well, he was Stefan Urkel, whatever the case may be. But when he came out, he was smooth. He lost his nerdiness. The machine made him lose his nerdiness. Steve Urkel is the perfect example, bro. Like, this shit is, it just hit me, bro. I'm excited. But this shit just hit me because, like, Steve Urkel is the perfect example of the nerd complex. You feel what I'm saying? He very well could have been he should have been with Myra. He did not want Myra, the woman who was exactly like him. He did not want her. He wanted Laura, the woman that was not thinking about him. That's what the fuck nerds are doing. But then it's like, okay, well, I had to change it because, yes, let's keep it a buck. Stefan was cool. He had style. He came out the machine with swag, bro. Like, nerds don't have that shit. Steve Urkel proved that shit. Nerds don't have it. So it's like, you feel me? That right there is the moment. That's like, damn, Steve Urkel is the fucking defining moment to understand why nerds and intellectuals are not the same shit. Because the same mind built that machine. The same mind did all this shit. He didn't get dumb. He just took his glasses off and lowered his suspenders. But he was still that same person. Like, do you see, like, he made adjustments? Now, I get it. Well, I shouldn't have to change. Yes, you shouldn't have to change to acquire the woman that you really want. You shouldn't have to change. That's why you fuck with Myra. See, you nerds, the nerds, they complain about they don't want to fuck with Myra, though. Because they know they don't like being nerdy. You feel me? Another example of that is Love Don't Cost a Thing with Nick Cannon. He was a fucking nerd in that shit. And then he didn't realize that, it's just my essence. I need to just exude it. Then he started fucking with Paris so he can become popular. See how nerds do? they want to fuck with something to make themselves like, as opposed to just being that shit. You feel what I'm saying? Or being comfortable within the space that they are. You feel me? That's nerdy shit. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. So when we get to where we're criticizing black women for not liking nerds, they love intellectuals, bro. They love intellectuals. You feel me? That's why I was always so confused. Like, I be sometimes when they be posting this shit on Instagram, I'll be like, bro, I don't deal with that, but I'm on your side. I never dealt with that, but I'm on your side because I'm a nerd. I'm not a nerd. I've never been a nerd. I'm an intellectual, bro. Like, it's different. It's different. Like, that's why I be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I be looking at some women, like, they will call, like, literally, this is some crazy shit. I've seen this shit, like, with people who have been mutual friends, like, on social media. Like, I know somebody who can post some shit about some kind of anime, right? And some of the women be like, yo, men, you know, they do X, Y, and Z, right? And then I seen another meme, right? This shit was funny as hell. One of my homegirls sent this shit to me. It was like, she was like, yo, when he got it like that, some shit was like, yo, when he got it like that, he'll have you asking questions about Dragon Ball Z. And then the next caption was, oh, so that's Gohan's son. You know what I'm saying? And one of my homies sent that to me. She said, that's you right there. I was like, how you figure that shit? She was like, cuz, like, yo, she said, you the type of motherfucker that you'll still do this shit. And it's not crazy. It's not weird. I'm like, how's it weird to watch Dragon Ball Z, bro? Like, fuck, it's a cartoon. It's, you know, entertainment, you know, but it's what you do outside of that shit. You feel what I'm saying? And I started to learn that, you know, when I've had these, you know, references to certain shit, I never caught the flack that the quote unquote nerds got. And I would never get, why don't y'all treat me like a nerd? Because I'm not. And there's a very distinct difference between an actual nerd and an intellect. And they're not the same thing. You feel what I'm saying? We have just gotten so conditioned to equating intelligence to being a nerd. And you know what? That right there may be why we don't accept intelligence like we do. You feel me? Because we automatically equate it to nerd behavior. I don't do nerdy shit. I don't do nerd behavior. So, you feel me? I'm not gonna be in that space. You know? So it's like, I'm not a nerd, bro. I'm cool as fuck. Like, you feel me? Like on Boys in the Hood, when they was breaking down some shit in the car or whatever the case may be, and Ice, he was like, yeah, I read, motherfucker. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, dope boy, you know what I'm saying? Because it's Boys in the Hood. But that's the shit that happens. Like, people be thinking like you can't be that intellectual unless you operate and look like this. Unless I wear my glasses, unless I like, you know, motherfuckers wear glasses just can't see. That doesn't necessarily equate to them being smart. You feel me? And so we be thinking like, you know what I'm saying? And this is no slight shout out to my glasses team. Y'all fucks with y'all. I love y'all. But the point that I'm making is that, and I'm not shitting up because a lot of y'all are actually intellectual still, but you feel me? You wear glasses. But the point that I'm making is that we created a mentality that a nerd looks like this or a nerd acts like this and carry this way. So a lot of intellectual motherfuckers are letting their intelligence lie dormant or are not expressing their true intelligence because they don't look like a fucking nerd. You feel me? They don't look like a fucking nerd. And then the nerds are upset because they can't get the women because women don't like nerds. Oh, they think, oh, women don't like intelligence. No, they fucking love it, bro. Trust me. I'm telling you, women love intelligence, bro. And they love it. They love it. But they need protection. They love protection more than they love a smart motherfucker. Know that shit, bro. Know that shit. You feel me? You can't square root. You can't put the quadratic equation on a motherfucker who want to throw hands. You feel me? You fucking pull up the opposite of B plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. What? No, that's not gonna do it. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like, people be thinking, you know, and that's what the nerd does. The nerd wants you to, okay, I'm superior to you because I'm smarter. I'm superior because I'm this. You should fuck with me because of that. That's nerd shit. So when we talk about why don't nobody like the nerd, let's put it in context. And let's put it in reality. You feel me? The nerd has issues. Low-key or high-key narcissistic issues. You feel me? That's why y'all are so upset right now. When I was in school, they didn't like nerds. Right. Because y'all was corny, bro. Like, the fuck? Like, let's keep that a buck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, like, you got to be yourself. You got to be yourself. Click up with other corny motherfuckers and be cool. Like, you feel me? That's how I look at it. You may not be cool enough for the cool people, but if you click up with who you're supposed to click up with, you'll be cool. It's that simple. You feel me? But when you look at how the nerd plays out now, like I said, look at all of these, a lot of these motherfuckers right now, they were nerds. They were nerds. Like, I seen a post that said, a lot of y'all didn't influence. You can tell that some of these social media motherfuckers, they ain't never influenced a motherfucker a day in their life. You feel me? Not in high school, middle school, nothing. But now all of a sudden they're an influencer. How? You know, it's like, oh, now they were able to create this reality. Like, I got a homegirl. Not a homegirl, really. Well, I say everybody my homie and shit. But I have a follower on Twitter, and I had posted about one of my last episodes or some shit, and she was like, "Yo, I like your authenticity." Cause I be everywhere with the shit. You feel me? Some days I want to be ratchet. Some days I want to have fun. Some days I want to drop and I do that shit all the time. You feel me? It didn't dawn on me that motherfuckers was calling me a quote unquote influencer until they was like, "Yo, you drop a lot of content." I was like, I just be talking shit. Like, the fuck, like, you feel me? But and you know what I'm saying? It's separate from all of the other things that I do, but it still brings it all together. You feel me? And I didn't pay attention to it. Like, cause for me, Instagram was just Instagram, bro. Like, the fuck? Y'all following me for some shit, and then you're gonna unfollow me next week, and I'm still gonna be the same motherfucker. Like, I don't have that I didn't have that understanding of, you know, I'm like, yo, I just do this shit because I be feeling like this, what I be feeling. And that's what it is. You feel what I'm saying? But when I look at, you know, there's a specific reason. Like, I don't post for a specific reason. You feel me? It's not like, I'm not a knowledge dropper. I'm not a comedian. I'm not any of that shit. I'm just saying, bro. Like, ultimately, that's why the brand developed like that. Because it's like, yo, don't box me in. Don't box me in. You feel me? But like, when we look at the motherfuckers who have developed into that, it's like, yo, I'm dropping all of this knowledge. I'm dropping all of this knowledge. What are you doing with the knowledge? What are you doing with the knowledge? You feel me? I got a big homie who was hitting me. He was like, bro, he was like, yo, everything you learned, you applied. That's what the fuck you supposed to do. The fuck? You feel me? Nerds are theorists. You feel what I'm saying? Nerds are theorists. That's something that I've learned from dealing with nerds in middle school, high school, college. It's the nerdy motherfuckers that's like, bro, who gives a fuck about you knowing all of the information? What are you doing with it? Oh, it's not that, like, it is that easy. That's why when me and my bro Pat did the last one, and the last So For Real conversations that I mentioned, those who can do, those who can't teach, nerds. They're fucking nerds, bro. You feel me? They can't do the shit. Those are who the nerds were. Those are the people who were, you know, who are the ones that are complaining about the shit. About women not treating them a certain way, women not responding to them a certain way. They never responded to you in a certain way. But you didn't even like the people who responded to you that way. So that really makes you a nerd. That's what makes you a fucking nerd. You feel me? You wanted what wasn't supposed to be for you, but even deeper than that, you didn't even want what you were. You feel me? That's what it is. You know, so we can talk that shit. Black women don't like the nerd men, and now they want. No, they still don't fucking like nerds now. I know women right now who would tell me, you feel me? And this is how I be knowing shit. I be paying attention to shit. So women right now would tell me certain shit, and they'd be like, I don't like this particular quote unquote knowledge dropper. He just don't sit right with me. You feel me? I don't like this particular the way. Something about him I don't like. I'm like, why? Like, yeah, he's smart. He dropped the shit that he dropped, but it's just something about him. He's a nerd. He's a nerd. Like, and it's no slight at him. I'm not, you know, and I'm not speaking on anybody specific or anything like that. I'm speaking on the conversation that I had. Motherfuckers call me a nerd. The fuck? Like, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's like this. When it comes to the nerd shit, it's a defining factor. Because a lot of nerds are just smart, but they're not really intellectuals. Ask them to go deeper into what they're saying, and they just regurgitate more or paraphrase what they're saying. You feel what I'm saying? They can't really elaborate, and they can't really peel back the layer. And I got to stop saying that shit. But they can't really go into from a different dynamic and then give you the shit. You feel what I'm saying? So now, like I said, when it goes back to the undergrad homie that was like mad, because it's like, yo, how did you get an A? And I didn't. That ain't got shit. I fucking knew the material and I passed the test. It ain't my fault that you put everything into a study guide. You feel me? And that's what a lot of nerds do. A lot of nerds do. They put their stake in their intelligence being the facts. I know this. I know that. Can you think critically about something? And like anybody can recall history. Anybody can memorize something. Anybody can do this. Like, that's why it's like when you look at a lot of these like quote unquote smart motherfuckers, a lot of these nerdy motherfuckers, like what are they really talking about? Mainly it's history. You know, that's mostly what it is. History and philosophy. I'll say that. A lot of it is usually history and philosophy. Two things where you can sound smart, you can sound good. Like that's some nerdy shit. I want to sound good. You feel me? I want to be able to know. So, you know, a lot of it's history and shit. Now, this is not to go against any historian that has put in this motherfucking work to go in. But the historians are different than the motherfucker regurgitating history. The historians go back to the missing pieces and piece shit together. And you get shit like that came before Columbus. You feel what I'm saying? You get shit like stolen legacy. You're able to get like, that's not nerdy shit. That's an intellectual. Because you're piecing together shit that's like, yo, remember, damn, in like 1827, this happened. But then 1829 happened across the world. Yo, this was a connected event. And then that's the historian. You feel me? I'm not talking about that person saying that they're the nerd. I'm saying the nerds. What we're looking at is people that, you know, they constantly just regurgitate. They just keep regurgitating shit. Quote unquote, I'm a history buff. The fuck can you do with history? Like, really think about that shit. Like, you feel me? History is designed to go forward. It's like a bow and arrow. If I pull the bitch back, you feel me? The farther I can pull it back, the further I can go. Okay, you went back as far as you can in history. When you gonna go forward? You feel what I'm saying? And that's what happens. It's history and philosophy. And then now it's the metaphysics shit. Yo, it's a lot of these nerds don't even understand the physics of life, and they're metaphysical. Like, come on, like that's nerdy shit. That's what I be talking about. You have nerdy shit. You feel what I mean? And when you have the intellectual, the person who's not necessarily the nerd, but they're actually the intellectual, they're able to break down shit. So like, get a nerd, put a nerd in the conversation, and then let him talk about anything that has to do with actual thought, mathematics, science. You know what they always say? Yo, get away. You know they stole everything from us. You using the white man science to do this. That's a nerdy motherfucking comment. Pay attention to motherfuckers like that. Because if in fact they stole our shit, why the fuck can't we steal our shit back? And why is it something different? But pay attention to that shit. Motherfuckers can talk about all of the history they want, but as soon as you start talking about the tangible shit, mathematics and science and shit, all of a sudden it's the white man's. All of a sudden it belongs to the white man. Those are the same motherfuckers who were in school who were mad because the black women didn't like them. You feel what I'm saying? Those are the ones. Those are the ones who were like, you know what? And I see it. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But all I can do is put two and two together. Because when I hear the stories about, oh, this person, I'm just listening to how they respond. I'm like, yo, dude, you're not smart. Well, you're smart, but you're not. You like, what have you broken down? Like everything they do is a repeat of something else that somebody else has done. You feel what I'm saying? And that's when I'm learning the difference really is. You feel me? And so we're not just going to talk about history and all of that. Like now look at and a lot of them milk relationships like a motherfucker. They know women are broken. They know, oh, now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. You didn't deserve him. You don't need a man like that. At all. Now when I go back and I tell motherfuckers that misogyny is the competition between men misogyny is the competition between men. Before it was the hatred of women, right? But it was nerds that made fucking misogyny, bro. Like, bro, come on, let's keep it a buck. Like, let's keep it a bean. Like, really put the shit in context, man. Look, the nerds were always mad that they couldn't get the girls. You feel me? So the hatred, the competition between men. Now the nerds have created the religious systems. They created all of these different systems, patriarchy, all of this shit to hate women because they know that women are the greatest prize to the men. Period. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's what we're here for. Like that's our goal. That's what we work for for the earth and all of that stuff. So it's women. So now you create the misogyny First, by creating a competition between men and then disrespecting his prize. Nerd motherfuckers are the motherfuckers that will fuck your girl. The nerdy motherfuckers are the type of motherfuckers that can't get that. Like, I can't get the woman. Like, I can't get the woman you with. Don't try, bro. Get the woman that's built for you. That's nerd shit. You feel me? Again, this is putting it into a whole new perspective because a lot of nerds ain't even smart, but they still do nerdy shit. And that's what the problem is. That's what my whole point in all of this podcast is, the differentiation between the words. Like, when we say I'm a black nerd, we not. A lot of us that are in that space where we be like, yo, we know that we're black thinkers and we're black intellects, but we call ourselves the blurs. We call ourselves a black. Nah. Because I talked to some blurs and they were really blurs. And then I talked to some blurs and I'm like, you're not really a nerd, bro. Sis, you're not a nerd. Oh, but black nerds unite. Nah, we can't unite. Because, like, yo, we different. We're really different. Because a lot of those people that are nerdy, they have nerdy behavior. They have nerdy tendencies and nerdy actions. You feel what I'm saying? When they speak as if, you'll know when you're in the presence of a nerd because they're going to try to make you feel stupid. It's like this. When you're in the presence of an intellect, right? A person who's an actual intellectual, you feel me? When they speak, it kind of inspires you like, damn, I want to learn more about that. I want to go farther with that. But then when you're speaking with a nerd, that shit's going to piss you off. You feel me? It's going to piss you off and then you really want to find out who a nerd is. Know more than them. Know more than them and what they're talking about. Not only know it, understand it, and go the distance with them. You'll see what a nerd really is. You feel me? I see it all the time on social media. The motherfuckers, you ask them a question about some shit that they make whole captions about knowledge. You ask them about it, they'll tell you to go to Google. That's some nerd shit. I'm not going to tell you, because all I'm going to do is retell you what the fuck happens. What the fuck I just put in this motherfucking caption. You feel what I'm saying? And it sound good. It sound good until you break the shit down. You feel me? And then you realize, yo, I'm dealing with a nerd. And it's on some real shit. It's almost a parallelism, bro. Like, I be seeing it all the time. The same motherfuckers who are always shit on how women didn't like them for being nerds be the same motherfuckers that just be spewing information and don't never answer shit. They have yet to apply shit. I started my entrepreneurship journey and I started all of the shit that I've done around the same time as a lot of motherfuckers back in 2015, right? A lot of woke motherfuckers. There's motherfuckers who put me on to the woke game. And I was like, yo, but now we go in a conversation. It's like, how you let me pass you? How you get me into the game and let me get farther than you? There's a problem. There's a problem somewhere in that. Like, you feel what I'm saying? There's a problem somewhere in that. I can't figure out what it is other than outside of the nerd shit, but there's a problem in that. And then when I look at them, I'm like, yo, you the same motherfuckers talking about, yeah, but now everybody want to be on some nerd shit. See, that's why you ain't growing. That's why you got a problem with people that, and that's why you hate the bad boy, right? And you really hate the intellectual bad boy. That's who you really hate. You feel me? Because he is what you're trying to do and what you're trying to be. And now you're upset because there's a difference. It's just a natural essence between them. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, women have always liked intellectual men, but they preferred safety first. I don't give a fuck how smart you are if you can't protect shit. If I got to feel scared around you, if I know, oh man, this motherfucker gonna say something, my man ain't gonna say shit. You feel me? I seen a post. This shit was very, very powerful. And like I said, this right here is going to not nullify, but this right here is going to solidify a lot of shit that I was just talking about. A woman posted, she said, women want to be able to say, my man will beat your ass and be comfortable saying that shit. Now, whether you could beat his ass or not, who knows? Because the fight has to happen. But she needs to have that confidence in herself that she can say that shit. She can't do that with a nerd, bro. She can't do that with a nerd. You feel what I'm saying? She cannot do that shit with a nerd. And now, again, when it goes back to the nerd shit, please don't get onto the cliche version of a nerd. I've seen nerds with muscles. I've seen nerds who wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight still. I've seen small motherfuckers who, it's the fighting the dog. I mean, it's the fighting the dog, not the dog in a fight. You feel me? But the purpose and the point of what I'm saying is that women are going to seek protection first before they seek intelligence. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they need to know, like, yo, fuck that. Like, if my man can't beat your ass or at least fight you, I don't need to be fucking with him. Like, that's some crazy shit. Like, I don't need to be fucking with him. You feel me? And that opens up so many different doors, because now the nerd aspect, the nerd part, is the one who gets that rap when you're older. Like, they created this system. So then when we look at who the nerds of the world really are, they're running the presidency. They're running this shit. Those are the real fucking nerds, bro. They need to wear their power ties and, you feel me, do all of the shit that they do to feel like men. To feel like masculine alpha men. But then all you got to do is have the right skin and walk into a motherfucking room and everything shuts down because you're naturally alpha. You feel me? It goes deeper into why nerds are what they are and why the intellectual is not. You feel me? So it's not a point of, women not liking intellectuals. They just don't like nerds, bro. And the reason why they choose the bad boy, because they want to be protected. They want to feel safe. So a woman is always going to go with safety over. She can learn herself. The fuck? Like, that's the purpose. Like, that's the common theme. She can learn herself, but can she be protected? You feel me? Because a lot of nerds won't even fight over a woman or for her. You feel me? So that nerd shit is deep. It's deeper than just being a smart motherfucker. Like, oh, they didn't like the. No, you're weird. I don't like using the word weird. I don't, but I'm just using it for now. It's like, yo, you were weird. You did weird shit. And now we understand. Now we can see that weird shit is not just Pokemon cards. It's not just anime. It's not just all like weird shit makes you a nerd. Doing weird shit makes you a nerd. You feel me? Criticizing, holding in the fact that you got curved when you were 17 years old, and then bringing that shit back up 10 years later to a woman saying, now you a single mother. You're a nerd. That's nerd shit. You're a fucking nerd. How you still mad for 13 years because you got curved at a time? The fuck? You feel me? And it's like these beings, they get into these realms of this narcissistic belief that it was never me. Nothing was wrong with me. I was a nerd. I was perfect. I was smart. I was this. I was that. All right, cool. And she still chose this guy. She still chose that guy over me. Cause, man, what could you do? Women like to be entertained and protected. Protected first, then entertained. If she knows you can protect her, if she knows you can make her laugh, she'll fuck with you. She'll fuck with you. And then you gotta enhance that shit and do other things. But with that shit in mind, like, you have to really consider the nerd aspect of it. There's a difference. And we need to change this narrative, yo, that the nerd and the intellect is the same shit, because it's not. It's not. Because you got nerdy motherfuckers making intellects look bad. You feel me? You got nerdy motherfuckers making intellects look bad. You know? A lot of motherfuckers don't want to fuck with intellects because of fucking nerds. Oh, you're gonna, I've had so many conversations with people who are like, yo, you don't make me feel stupid. I'm not supposed to make you feel stupid. Like, the fuck? That's not my place to be making you feel stupid. Fuck. I don't get it. Because like a lot of smart motherfuckers, they do. No, that's the thing. They're smart motherfuckers. Like, I don't have to prove it. I ain't got to prove this shit. That's why my podcast is called Profane Profundity. I want you to see me in the rawest down to earth way possible. Fuck all of this complex shit, man. I ain't trying to be thinking like that all the motherfucking time. You feel me? I had a dude that he said, yo, you don't talk the way you write. Cause bitch, I ain't writing. The fuck? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Well, when you write, you use this word, you use that word. Cause bitch, I sit and I think about the shit that I'm doing. When I'm talking, I'm not thinking, bro. This shit just flows. Like, I don't have to sit and motherfucking break down and use all these big words all the motherfucking time. No, that's why I use motherfucker so much, motherfucker. Cause I don't feel like using the larger vocabulary all the motherfucking time. I don't have to prove that I'm smart. I don't have to prove that I'm intelligent. I don't. You feel me? So when I have my podcast, like, I don't, like, that's why y'all get me like this. I could very well be a philosopher. I could very well be cave of the what is it? Plato's the allegory, cave of the allegory to cave, some shit like that. I can be that philosophical motherfucker to, you know what I mean? That shit's stupid. That's nerd shit. I'm not a fucking nerd, bro. I'm not a nerd. Like, I don't like, that's the issue with it. You feel me? The nerds have to continually be smart. Fuck. Nah, that's stupid. Like, you feel me? Like, you know, it's just different levels to the shit. So the point that I'm saying with that is that when you get to the nitty gritty of it all, that's why nobody fuck with a nerd. If you were a nerd and they didn't fuck with you, just sit and reflect. That's it. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be rude, but literally sit and reflect. Because are you one who speaks condescendingly to people about information you feel they don't know? Oh, you should know this. You're supposed to know this. That ain't got shit to do with me. That ain't got shit to do with me. You feel me? I know people right now who assume that I have read certain books that I ain't read that shit. What is that? What's the name of that book? Word. Okay, I'll write it down. If you say it's dope, I'll read it. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they assume that I've already read it because it's like, okay, I can only imagine that this person that like, nah, I just, you know, it is what it is. But see, the nerd has to have that point proven. You know, the nerd has to have that point proven. Continually, you know, reiterate how smart they are, you know? And so I got into, I'm trying to start slowing down and wrapping up with this. I got into a real heated argument with this dude. Now I'm learning that I was arguing with a nerd, right? I got into a real heated argument with this dude because he was like, yo, all you do is post for the attention of women. So, you know, me and my sarcastic ass, I was like, duh, I don't post for y'all, motherfucker. Like, I want a woman in my life. You feel me? I'm going to ultimately end up with a woman and shit. So I need women, the women that I'm potentially going to be looking for, to know what kind of motherfucker I am. So, of course, I'm going to post, cater to them. The fuck? Like, I don't get it. So, you know, again, like I said, I'm being sarcastic at first. But then he's like, you know, you do all of it. I'm like, so bro, like, why are you mad? Like, why are you mad? He said, all of the shit that you post is for women. Like, you know, no, it's not. All of the shit that you see is like, I'm like, yo, you see, when your comments, because my brothers, the brothers that I fuck with, the alphas and shit, they don't comment. I said, look, when I did I ran my analytics and shit, and it's like 50, like it's literally almost split. But like my post engagement interaction is like 54% men and 46% women. So I'm like, yo, I told him that. I'm like, yo, bro, like, this is the analytics, bro. Like, I can't make this shit up and say that men fuck with me more than women. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I got like 6,000 something followers or some shit around there. Right? But look, let's break that. Let's just say I got 6,000, right? And if we split that in half, you feel me? And if we split that according to the analytics, it's like, it'll be what? Like 3,500 to 2,500, roughly about. I mean, I'm fucking playing with the numbers, but roughly about. So I'm like, yo, so more men fuck with me than women. So what are you getting at? So he's like, well, I posted that on my page and women that. You mad at me for that shit? You mad at me because they don't fuck with you? And then I post the same thing and you get mad because they fucked with me? We don't follow the same people. I fucks with people who fuck with shit that I talk about. I said, what was your caption, bro? That's probably what it is. Because at this point, I'm really trying to help this motherfucker figure out why the fuck that his shit didn't get like... And his thing was, you know, you catered it to women. No, I didn't. I expressed the thought. I can't help that women are the ones who read the captions. I can't help that women are the ones who comment. You feel me? My brothers do too. They just don't say shit. You know why? Because if it don't apply, let it fly. But you feel what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that's why I'm so glad Instagram removed that like feature. Because nerds was getting on my fucking nerves, bro. Like, they would come into shit. They would come into like, they would just hit my DMs and it's like, yo, you. I'm like, yo, that like, dude, why is this a problem? And now I know why. Now I know why. I know exactly why. Like, they're purposely doing their nerdy shit or the information that they're dropping for that very reason. You feel me? I just go off of what I fucking feel. This is why half the time my posts are my captions are contradictory to the post half the time. Sometimes it's a joke. It's whatever happens. It's not like I'm not, you know what I'm saying? And I had to tell him that. I'm like, yo, you know, I'm not doing this for nobody but my own pleasure and entertainment, right? So I'm confused. He's like, well, what are you doing? What do you mean what I'm doing? I'm being me. The fuck are you not doing? You feel me? But the purpose of that was to say, that's the nerdy shit. That's the problematic piece. These dudes that keep running that narrative that women they never like them. Yeah, you're still holding on to that. Now, take some responsibility and accountability to acknowledge that you didn't even want the women that were like you. That's what you're really mad at. You're mad at the women that you couldn't get, and you overlooked the women that wanted you. You feel what I'm saying? Whose fault is that? Now you're holding on to anger. You're mad at people. You're mad at a whole gender. You are mad at a gender because of some shit that you did or didn't do or couldn't do. How? They didn't fuck with me. No, they did fuck with you. You just didn't fuck with what was fucking with you. Again, Steve's, you had a whole Myra down the ride for you in and day out. You were the number one thing on her motherfucking mind, but you wanted Laura. You can't get mad at that. Now you mad at all Lauras because Laura didn't want you. Now you're like, oh, when I was in, it wasn't until I hit the chamber. Now, like, okay, yeah, you had to hit the chamber. You had to hit the chamber to get the Lauras. That means you had to change yourself, which means you weren't comfortable being who you were. And when you were comfortable, like, yo, I'm not even gonna hold you, bro. Myra was bad. Myra was bad, yo. Like, Laura was cute too, but like Myra was bad. Like, come on, bro. She was a writer, yo. Myra was a writer. Y'all don't want the writer, yo. Because for every dude, for every nerd who says he liked all of this shit, he overlooked the very woman that was actually in his face liking the same shit. You feel what I'm saying? Because he went like, I knew, man, yo, I got so many different stories about nerds now that are different because like, I'm looking at them different. I'm looking at all the complaints now. It's different. So at this point, from this point forward, man, I'm not gonna classify myself as a black nerd no more. I'm not a nerd. I'm not. I'm an intellect. I'm a black intellect. It's not the same shit. It's not the same shit. And that was a defining factor between why, like, and it's like the nerds that I knew when I was trading, like, they would never want to hang with my homies. I'm like, bro, you want to? Nah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Like, what? I was in college. Now it gets crazier when you get up higher in academia because I was in the master's program when I was in Philly. And dude was like, yo, now you talking to me like you not the nerd. So let's keep it up. You feel what I'm saying? So we walking somewhere and, you know, he's like real paranoid. Like, I'm like, bro, you good? Like, the fuck? He's like, nah, I'm not familiar with this area. Bro, it's cool, bro. It's just dark. Like, the fuck? Like, nah. It's like, I said, yo, you scared, bro? Like, the fuck is going on? He was like, nah, I'm just, you know, making sure I'm alert. I said, oh, shit, I got this motherfucker walking at night and he's scared. Ain't that some shit? Like, I'm like, yo, I never got why you were scared. But now I started to see it. You know, when I went to a HBCU, I would do certain shit that motherfuckers didn't do. Like, you feel me? Why are you walking by yourself? What about the buddy system? Bro, I grew up in this shit, bro. I know how to keep alert. Like, you feel me? I'm not saying I was absolved or fearful. I mean, or like, you know what I'm saying? But like when I looked at certain shit that motherfuckers was doing, I'm like, yo, y'all just got here. Y'all are nerds, stay nerds, but don't try to do other shit that's not for you. You feel what I'm saying? And that started to show me like, a woman don't like, bruh, you're walking with another dude. Like, you feel what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. We were walking probably to a bar or some shit. But you're walking with another guy and you're nervous. What the fuck you think your lady's gonna feel? Like, bro, I'm telling you, yo, bro, we good, man. I walk around here all the time by myself. It's cool. Like, you feel me? Like, it's good, bro. Nah, it's just people are standing outside. That's what we do. Like, cause it was like the area we was at. I was home. You feel me? I was home where we was going. I can imagine he probably wasn't. But the area that we was going and shit, it's like, they're standing outside. It's just, I mean, it's kind of what we do. It's called posting up, bro. We good. It's you know, I walked up to I didn't even know some people. It's like, yo, you walk up, greet them, dap them. I'm like, yo, you know, they're good people. They're humans and shit. You know what I'm saying? He shook. He nervous. But I'm like, see, this is what I'll be talking about. When dudes get mad and they say, well, she didn't like the smart, like, yo, she's like, it'd be the nerdiest motherfuckers that be scared to walk at night. She don't want that shit, bro. She don't want that shit. Cause you same nerdy motherfuckers would be if some shit happen, y'all bolting, bro. Like, it's just shit like, yo, babe, you better run. Like, the fuck, I hope you get away, cause I'm leaving you. You feel me? That's what they worried about. That's what they gotta see. That's what they choose not to fuck with. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all be thinking it's just cause y'all nerds and, oh, she didn't fuck with me cause she don't feel like you can be safe. She can be safe around you. And now, really sit and think about this. You a nerdy motherfucker. You've been trying to run the debate this entire time. Oh, that they don't fuck with the nerds. Now, think about this. Just really sit and ask yourself this question. How do you feel when you're walking alone at night? Are you afraid? Are you comfortable like being in a position like that? Like, that's just the basic shit. You feel me? Are you good on any MLK Boulevard? I know a lot of us sung that shit, but a lot of us have never been on the MLK Boulevard. Like, on some real shit. Like, if you know, you know. You feel me? But that's the shit that I be talking about. Like, you feel what I'm saying? This is just a side tangent. It's random just because they talked about this in the album. You know, when we look at black excellence, we always try to consider it as, you know, the intellectuals, the smart people. And a lot of times, a lot of what we have been quote unquote calling black excellence has been infiltrated and has been laid down foundational wise by nerds, right? And just, I mean nerds from the context of what the fuck I'm talking about. You feel what I'm saying? And these nerds, they're just smart. You feel me? So we need to stop trying to put the black excellence to that, because it's an essence that we need to have in addition to that. And you feel me? If like, I'm not one of those who's like, yo, you're not black if you do X, Y, and Z, or you're not doing that like that. Like, nah, the thing about it is like the nerds, we never took their black card. You feel what I'm saying? But they denied the essence that their black card gave them. You feel what I'm saying? Or they try to make it seem as if their black card was not authenticated because they didn't like, no, we never told you to be gangsters. We never told you had to do this. We never told you to try to assimilate to a certain thing. If you had it, you had it. If you didn't, you didn't. You feel what I'm saying? But that's a problem collectively that, you know, we have these quote unquote black cards. All black cards, your black card is not validated because you struggled. You feel me? Your black card is not invalidated because you didn't. Your black card is not validated because you go off to higher academia. Your black card is not invalidated because you didn't. You feel what I'm saying? Your black card is invalidated if you motherfucking have Caucasians wearing kente cloth and you know that you were supposed to check them and say no. You feel me? That's nerd shit. Nerds be wanting approval for that. All right, I'm transitioning into other shit now. But the purpose of all of this was to show that there's a difference between the nerd and the intellectual, right? There's a huge difference between the nerd and the intellectual. And nerds, if you were a nerd in school and everything, like, have some accountability for the fact that you may not have liked the women that actually liked you. The nerdy women who actually liked you too. You didn't like them. Say that. You feel what I mean? Say that. That you wanted the woman who would dog you out. You wanted the woman that, you know, it's like, it's the same shit. The dudes that flash money, y'all are nerds too. You flash money to get mad at gold diggers? Stupid nerd shit. Feel me? That's why I'm like, yo, nerds are weirdos. Like, I'm not saying it from the sense of, you know, the smart part. No, because that part is small compared to the full dynamic of a nerd. Motherfucking nerds do weird shit. You feel me? Weird shit. It's not just running down the hallway like Naruto. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Nerds do weird shit. It's extended to you know, oh, I'm a flasher this money, but you better not ask me for it. Like, yo, you're using bait. Like, you can't go fishing and then use the bait, catch the fish, and then get mad at the fish that you caught. The fuck? Like, you only here because of them. Yes, that's all you wanted her for. You feel me? Nerds be wanting women they're not supposed to have. And that's the problem. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at JustScenesMerch and get your merchandise right now. So yeah, I'm gonna try to tie it up with this, man. Shouts to the sister that, I had this conversation with today. That was just, that kind of put this into perspective. You know what I mean? Because she was really giving me some insight. She was like, yeah, the nerd and the bad boy. But then I started thinking, I was like, I'm like, yo, women like intellectuals, bro. I don't get it. I don't get it. I've had homies tell me it's because you're different. I'm not, bro. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm it's because I'm not a nerd. I'm not a nerd. And like, I hung around all dudes that were, we were all like this. We were all thinkers. We all intellectual, but it was just like, why we cool and everybody else ain't? Like, I don't know, funny shit like that. But it's like, why are y'all complaining? And then it's like, I sit around some of these dudes and it's just like, oh, you a nerd. You're a nerd. I'm an intellectual, you're a nerd, but it's no shot at that. Like, you feel me? And I can see it. You can see it when people are speaking. Like when you're in the room, when you're around them, like you can see who's who and what's what. You feel what I'm saying? And like I was at an event one time. I was speaking at this event, and I would notice that every time this dude spoke, this like I scaled the room because I'm big on energy and shit like that. Who's paying attention to what? Who's saying who's, and it's like, I'm making sure my shit good. Like, yo, I'm looking at everybody. So when I speak, if I see you cringe, if I see you cross your arms and shit, I start to pay attention by, all right, yo, they feel like I'm speaking bullshit or whatever the case may be. But I would notice that every time this dude would speak, like this one particular one was roll her eyes, she was like, oh. So I'm like, damn, let me make sure she ain't doing that shit to me. So I would, you know what I mean? Like, cause I'm, I gotta see what's up. So it's like, every time I would speak, like, it was just like the way me and her locked eyes was like an engagement. Like, it was like, she was intently listening. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just, we locked eyes. She called, and it was like, every time this person spoke, and I was like, okay, I see what the battle is. You feel what I'm saying? Because it will be on some shit. Every time I would say something, he was like, it's like a mile and more type shit. Well, I do this. Well, I do that. You feel me? And then right, motherfucker threw a shot at me too. Like, I be hating, like, and at that point, I knew that the situation was an alpha against a beta. I'll give him a beta. I would really call him an epsilon for that shit that he did, but I would call him a beta, a weak one at that. But it's like, in this conversation we were having, right, they asked me the question. Me. The question was directly connected to me because it was related to my entire book and the chapter that I had about religion. So they asked me, it was like, yo, so how do you feel religion affects masculinity? So I was like, well, here's my question. So, and each of us had individual questions that we had that was specifically for us, that nobody else was going to answer, right? So I'm asking, I answer, I'm like, look, religion, it affects us because this and the third, we have misogyny, you have all this thing and that nature. So I ended with basically, I said, because when you consider masculinity and religion, it's like, I have to get permission from a man to do anything for a man. I said, if I need permission to protect and provide, I can't call myself masculine. You feel me? Shut the room down. Like, motherfuckers clapping and shit. Whoo, that was a powerful answer, right? So the guy's like, so they asked him another question. Here was his specific question. This was his specific question. He says, I want to piggyback on the question you gave, Racine. Nigga, for what? That's not your question. So he's like, yeah, because I have a brother who's a hotep. Oh, so now you're going to insult me, right? But you're going to wait until afterwards. All right, first shot, He's like, yeah, so I have a brother who's a hotep. Me, I believe in Jesus and all of this, and somebody in the back like, yep, that's right. And I'm like, yo, see, that's the problem. I never said I didn't. I never told you I didn't believe in any of this shit. I answered the question on religion and how it affects masculinity. Now he's talking about, oh, my brother's a hotep, my this, that, and the third, and all of that shit. And I'm like, bruh, why you shooting at me? Why you shooting at me? And I was like, yo, he's a nerd. He's the, like, you feel me? I don't give a fuck that we had night. And I purposely did certain shit like this for that reason. When I spoke in that panel, I literally wore jeans, a t-shirt, and a pullover. I let everybody else have their shirt and ties. I said, I am not going to take away from any of this. I said, I'm going to show essence. And my point was that we're going to talk about masculinity. We need to show essence. We don't need to show appeal. We need to show essence, right? So I was like, yo, watch this shit. I'm gonna run this whole motherfucking show. And I wasn't trying to be funny. It was me and my brother that sat right next to me, yo. We was cutting up the whole time. But it was us, and like we was you feel me? You can see that we were just the alphas in the motherfucking room. Everybody else was trying to move at our pace. But me and him were just, we rocking. We rocking, like we having fun, bro. Like we just here to be here. You feel what I'm saying? But that led to, me saying, I was like, yo, he like now you're doing nerd shit. That's that nerd shit, to undermine another man, to try to and then come at like, I stand supreme. You don't, bro. Like I'm whooping your ass like right now. Like, you feel what I'm saying? The fact that you even feel attacked and you have to fight shows that I already won and I didn't even touch you. You feel me? That's what nerds have a problem with. You feel me? So they get all of these accolades, they do all of this shit, and they try to put themselves up like that. I'm like, yo, like, I strip all of that shit away, bro, and I'm still not a nerd. Like, that's what they're fighting. That's what they're trying to, stick with. You feel what I'm saying? But the point of all of that was that when we look at this nerd shit, we got to stop assuming that intellectuals are nerds and nerds are intellectuals. It's different, bro. I mean, now granted, all nerds have intellectual shit, but all intellectuals ain't nerds, bro. We are not all like that. And that gets a bad rap. You feel what I'm saying? That gets a bad rap. You feel me? And it be bothering me, bro. Cause of y'all motherfuckers, my relationships be getting fucked up. Nah, I'm bullshit. I'm being dramatic. Nah, but it be on some shit like I could say something, and then this is how I know like women are used to, they come from dealing with nerds. Like, for example, when it comes to my beliefs, I've had women who would say some shit like, and they be like, oh, Lord Jesus. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. You didn't offend me. The fuck? Like, but then I know where they coming from with that shit. Because I know dudes like, yo, get him. I'm like, I know it takes time to leave this shit. Like, I don't, shit. I was 24 years old when I walked away from this shit. I was in it for 24 years. I'm not telling you to do that shit overnight, the fuck. But at the end of the day, you know where I stand. You feel me? I'm not one who needs to convince you to do it, to appeal, to make me feel normal. You feel me? Because do I really trust it? I don't know. I just keep getting this information. Like, nah, for me, there's no going back. So like, but if you're in that space and you're speaking from that perspective, I'm not mad. Like, you feel me? Lord Jesus, Lord, it's natural, bro. Like you've been saying, like, for me, like, look, I say bread a lot. Like, bread, like, fuck. That's just like me, like somebody trying to say, yo, stop saying bread. Like, let's say we dig up some history and shit and say bread was a racial slur. Like, fuck, damn. I've been calling niggas bread this whole time. Bread. Shit. Like, you feel me? I just can't stop it. It's going to take some time. You feel what I'm saying? But I've noticed how the nerds move is like, oh, now you got to do it like this. You got to do this. You need to start doing this right. Like, no, bro, come on. And like I said, this is what fucks it up. In my regard, a lot of times, because it's like when they come into that mind, when they're dealing with it, like you think you have to operate as if you're operating with a nerd. I don't give a fuck how your mind works how it's supposed to work. Mine works how it's supposed to. Your mind can't work like mine. Nerds don't get that shit. Everybody's mind works like mine. No. That's why you motherfuckers just be smart and have a whole bunch of information and really don't, and then you get mad because the woman didn't like you. And then you get mad at the motherfuckers who the women like and the fuck. And then you try to be them and then do shit, end up hurting yourself because that ain't your life. As opposed to dealing with the women that are just like you. You know why you can't deal with the women that are just like you? Because you do not like you. And that's what it boils down to. You feel me? You do not like you. You want to be something that you're not. To get a woman that you're not supposed to be with. She broke my heart. Yes, it's a dangerous game, bro. It's a dangerous game. You can't blame her for that. You weren't supposed to be fucking with her. You feel me? But this was all over the place. This had a lot of different bounce backs to it. But the key takeaways that I want to reiterate here. One, there's a difference between the nerd and the intellect. All right? Major difference, right? In addition to that, women, they like fuck boys. They like fuck boys and the bad boys simply because they feel protected. You feel me? And before they deal with somebody who's intellectually condescending to them, they would rather deal with somebody who they knows will like. At the end of the day, at the end of the day for them, it's like, yo, I need to make sure that I'm secure in this situation. You feel me? I need to make sure that I'm secure in this situation. So it is what it is, bro. Like, we got to break that narrative. We got to really stop acting like nerds and intellectuals are the same. They're not. And if you a nerd, acknowledge certain shit, bro. Like, and start qualifying where you stand is in your nerdhood, nerdy shit, whatever you call the shit. You feel me? And I'm only saying that because it's like we're looking at a different dynamic. And like, I'm really tired of arguing about the shit, to be honest with you. I'm really tired of nerds, like, and I used to defend that shit, bro. Like, I ain't even gonna front because I'm like, I'm a nerd too. I'm not. Like, after really sitting and thinking about it and like, yo, that's why y'all do the shit y'all do. That's why y'all be so angry when, oh, they didn't like us. And like, no, yo, bro, I'm telling you. And I'm not just saying it because it's me. Women love me. Girls loved me when I was in, like, they loved the nerdy part of me. Well, the intellectual part of me. Like, you feel me? And I realized that there was levels as to why they did. You feel me? My mind wasn't powerful because I kept them weak. My mind wasn't there because my intelligence wasn't limited to a specific set of details. And you know what I'm saying? I never came off sideways to them. It's like, yo, if I had the information, bam, I'm putting you onto it. Here's why I feel like this. Here's why I think that. And I elevated a lot of the mental. A lot of nerds aren't willing to elevate the mental of a woman. We're gonna talk about that or no? As long as you can keep her where she's not thinking or where she's not thinking as you are, you're good. But if she can outthink you, if she can bring information, like you shut it down. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. You feel what I'm saying? So that is why you didn't get the women in school. You was a nerd. And you did nerd shit. You feel me? It's not just about, oh, I was smart. No. Because all of the shit that y'all do, I do. I did. Still to this day at 30 years old. Matter of fact, after this podcast episode, I'm about to go watch Dragon Ball Z right motherfucking now. And then I'm going to play Pokemon too, because I got to finish beating that level and shit. I just beat the Elite Four and shit, so I got to go beat them again. You feel me? But you see what I'm saying? Like, shit like that is the difference between that. Like, if you on that type time where she has to operate a certain way, she can't be free, you're a nerd. You're a nerd. And you just like the women that, don't like you. So, with all things being equal, the only difference between the nerd and the intellect is how they use their mind with the women they're involved with. And the women don't like you. If you're doing nerdy shit, the women don't like you. They don't give you that attention. They don't give you what you're looking for, simply because of the way that you interact with them when it comes to intelligence. And I know how y'all interact with them because of how I have to redirect the energy, and people like me have to redirect the energy when they come into the space, because they have to feel like, well, I don't know this. Don't feel like I'm stupid. I've had conversations with women who would say shit like, yo, damn, I didn't know that, but don't think I'm slow. Why would I think you slow? Because you didn't know something that I knew? The fuck? No. You feel me? Who's giving them the reasons? Who's giving them the mentalities to have these thought processes? Where they're literally like, yo, don't think I'm slow. It's y'all motherfuckers. It's y'all nerdy motherfuckers. Oh yeah, you supposed to know this. No. You feel me? Like, when our women can feel like that, when they're made to feel like that, who do you think they're gonna fuck with? They're not gonna fuck with the intellectuals. They're gonna fuck with the bad boys. They're gonna fuck with the men they're smarter than. They're gonna fuck with the men they're more intelligent than, because they're like, okay, I don't want that energy on me. Because y'all motherfuckers have tainted the pool to where women think that all intellectuals are nerds. And because they're all nerds, they're going to act like fucking assholes. You feel me? Like, this shit got to change, bro. This shit got to change. If you intelligent, you smart, cool, be that. You don't get a trophy for it. You don't. You really don't. Like, you get your degree. That's not really a trophy, because it's really just a piece of paper, because somebody can, know a little bit more than you or go down a different route, but it's on how you think. But don't, like, from this, like, now we're older. So at this point, we need to look at our women differently when we are intelligent, when we are intellectuals, when we are nerds. Like, look at them differently and stop trying to make them feel stupid. Like, how you gonna get mad at somebody because they don't want you to? How you gonna get mad at somebody for not fucking with you because you make them feel stupid? You can't. Like, you feel me? If you're dealing with women and your intelligence, your knowledge base, it doesn't make them grow, but instead it makes them feel stupid, you need to reevaluate how you present yourself. And realize that that's why women don't fuck with you. You an asshole. Excuse me. You're an asshole. And what you need to do is, if you feel like whatever's in your mind is valuable, use it to show her how to elevate herself, how to but don't like hold it over her head like, yo, you need to be here. Now I'm like, yo, here's, I got this particular John to work with. Bam, here you go. You feel me? Women to learn. Like I get on my nerves, like when dudes like, women don't listen. No, they listen. They listen well. They listen intently and well. You just ain't got shit to tell them. You ain't got shit to tell them. You feel me? Women don't want to hear, like, contrary to what Instagram has led you to believe, women don't want to hear knowledge all the time. They want to learn something, but they don't want to hear knowledge all the time. And I'm going to leave it at that. That's the difference between the nerd and the intellect. So with that being said, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Hit me up on my website at iamjustine.com to be taken to everything that is me. And tips, sponsorships, donations, I do take them. You can click the link in your description. Cash App, PayPal, whatever works. And yeah, that's about it, man. I don't want to go too much deeper into that. But yeah, as from this point forward, I'm not a nerd anymore. I'm not calling myself a nerd. And we need to collectively start to identify the difference between the nerd and the intellect and associate that as such. Like, you feel me? Because nerds is giving us intellects a bad rap. Because now everybody think we just assholes and we condescending and, it's like, it's mind boggling how many times you can hear in a day, like talking like, yo, you don't speak to me in a condescending way. I'm not supposed to. Like, yes, like we are all in a point where we don't know shit. You feel me? That's why, and a woman, and I'm gonna end with this because a woman told it to me. Shout out to Erykah Badu. The man that knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. The moment I realize I know shit, that's when I'm no longer able to learn. You feel what I'm saying? So when it comes to I know that I don't know what's in your head. That's one thing I know. I don't know what's in your head. So I'm willing to learn from you if I'm open enough. But I can't be open if I'm assuming that, I got all of the knowledge. Nah, you'll learn a lot more from a woman because she has intuition. But that's a conversation in its own. So with that being said, go kiss your babies. If you're nerdy, stop being a dickhead. Stop bringing up other shit. And make sure your babies eat their vegetables. And get ready to come out of quarantine because it's almost over. We got probably like another month and a half, some shit like that. But they starting to open up. And everything you watch, shit's just going to disappear. But anywho, I love y'all. I see y'all on the next one. Hope your energy's right. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.